tax. Let's speak to Shimeon Lee, who's a research pair at the Taxpayers Alliance. I mean, for crying out loud, first of all, with these summits, I kind of think if you're going to sit there and chew over things like net zero, just do it via one giant video conference. It's 2025. Why does everybody need to actually emit all this sort of dangerous, toxic, noxious carbon dioxide into the air, getting on flights to go and discuss how not to emit toxic, noxious carbon dioxide into the air? But this, flying people out in advance to make sure the bedrooms are nice enough, is just taking us for fools, isn't it?
I mean, you're absolutely right. I think the first question on people's mind will be, why is this even necessary? I mean, we spent something like £700,000 last year on hotels for COP. I'm pretty sure we can afford one without bed bugs. And then there's the obvious issue of hypocrisy here. The Secretary of State for Climate Change racking up a massive carbon footprint, flying all around the world. Not just him, but now his aides are even flying all around the world for something as silly as this. All the while, he's imposing massive taxes on the rest of us who dare to go on holiday. I mean, if you look at air passenger duty for a country like Brazil, that's rising to about £102 next year. That's a more than 10% increase, far above inflation. And I think the most important issue here is a total lack of respect for taxpayers. I mean, the only reason why they've done this is because someone else is picking up the tab. I guarantee you, if he had to pay for this out of his own pocket to make sure that the rooms don't have bed bugs or whatever that civil servant was doing, he would find a more cost-effective solution. And you see this all across government, whether it's, purchasing luxury wine glasses, dinners at private members' clubs, it's hundreds of pounds in government procurement cards, or, £500,000 recently to redesign the government website. It's a bit of a joke.
I love it. That was funny. Oh my gosh. The redesign of the government website is I didn't even know this would happen. My other half said to me the other day, he said, have you seen this? And I was like, what? And he showed me this picture and it's sort of gov.uk, normally in black, gov written like that, the dot where a full stop should be UK. And all of a sudden it's changed its colour to a sort of joyful little light blue. And the full stop has been inched up by about a centimetre. And that cost us how much?
£500,000, if you can believe it.
Like, who on earth is charging £500,000 to change a colour? I mean, it's just ridiculous. How do things like that happen? What is the procurement process? How do you get a job like that? Because I'd love to know. I'd happily take £500,000 to decide to change the colour of some sort of brand.
I think the worst thing is that the actual decision to do this took place under the previous government. So it's taken this long just to change the colour of a website. Can you imagine how the government's coping with all the other things that it has to do?
Why did the website need to change colour? It's utterly ridiculous. I mean, how much is Ed Miliband's budget there in his net zero department?
Well, I think it's certainly substantial, but in terms of the amount of money that's going up for things like Great British Energy and all sorts of other things, I think they were looking at nationalising the steel companies as well. So the amount of money that's spent by the net zero department is certainly substantial. But I think the question is, for this COP conference in particular, is what are we getting out of it? I mean, we've had COP conferences for something like 30 years now. Every single year is more doom and gloom. And what do we get out of it? It's higher energy prices, some of the highest in Europe, in this country. And frankly, if all we're going to do is go there and ask for higher energy prices, I think there's a far cheaper way to do it. As you said, let's have these things online. Civil servants love working from home, and Ed Miliband can have a good night's sleep in his own bed.
Oh, they love working from home unless it involves a first-class flight. I'm sure that is perfectly a feasible decision to make. But, you're absolutely right on this. Ed Miliband is the most costly thing that this government's done to the country. It's absolutely ridiculous. You go to all these blimmin' COP summits. I mean, let's not pretend that the Conservative Party didn't love this stuff as well. To try and out-self-flagellate every other nation in terms of how much you can cripple your economy by setting targets that no one else is going to follow, that you're going to be a slave to. It is just mind-bendingly lunatic. It's an act of national self-harm. Let's talk now about the glass tax. So apparently, in the sort of effort to make everything more sustainable, manufacturers of alcohol are going to be told that they've got to recycle or make sure that the packaging that they're using is kindly to the environment. And this, of course, is going to hand costs down to the taxpayer. A standard bottle of wine will be an additional 9p. The cost of a beer bottle will rise by 4p. Spirits, an extra 11p. That might not sound like much, but yet again, here we go, messing about in the weeds when it comes to sort of saving the planet. Don't we all just recycle this stuff anyway? Like, what is this about?
I mean, it just goes to show that the solution to every problem under this government has been just to tax, 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 and under previous governments as well. I mean, people going on holiday, tax them, air passenger duty. People enjoying sugary drinks, tax them. People carrying around their groceries in plastic bags, tax them. People using the internet, just tax them even more. I think government doesn't understand that all these taxes mean taking money out the pockets of average people. I mean, if you look at wine in particular, the taxes on wine are already sky high. I mean, the UK has the third highest wine duty in Europe. And if you look at VAT and alcohol duty, that makes up nearly half the cost of a bottle of wine. And certainly when you add this so-called glass tax to it as well, that's going to increase the cost even further. And in fact, it's interesting that a per bottle tax would be actually a regressive tax because in percentage terms, a tax would be higher on a cheaper bottle of wine than on a more expensive bottle of wine. So in fact, it's a tax on the poorest people in society.
I mean, the French aren't going to like this, aren't they? They're one of the only nations that insist on sticking their wine in a bottle and shipping it over because they often do the fermentation process in the bottle. Whereas New World wines, people might not know this, they tend to come in big vats that are bought in and bottled over here because shipping gazillions of wine bottles from down under is a costly affair. The French aren't going to like this one, are they?
Yeah, and the whole design of this tax is a complete nonsense. I mean, the tax is supposed to be by weight, which means materials like glass actually are taxed more highly than plastic, which is the complete opposite of what we've been told for years, that plastic is the great polluter and glass is actually more sustainable. Of course, the objective here is to get producers to reduce unnecessary packaging. I don't know if we've looked at a bottle of wine recently, but I'm not sure how much more producers can reduce packaging. I mean, a bottle of wine is a bottle of wine. It's almost as if the people setting these policies have never seen a bottle of wine before. And what we end up with at the end of the day is going to be a worse alternative. People are talking about, because of a tax like this, putting wine in plastic bottles, if you can believe it. It's just like what happened with plastic straws. Now we all have paper straws that are far, far more difficult to use. And thanks to this government, we might soon be drinking wine out of cardboard boxes.
Oh, that will be a grotesque development, won't it indeed? Shimeon, thank you ever so much. Shimeon Lee, researcher at the Taxpayers Alliance.